13 goals given up over the 2 games. I just imagine it's tough to kind of crawl back in some of these games when you are giving up that many goals. Just what did you see and how that played out over the weekend?
Uh, I didn't like Friday's game at all. We looked like a team that had not just 1 week off, 2 or 3 weeks off. We didn't play with any structure at all, and obviously Bemidji took give credit to them. They took advantage of that, and just didn't like our game. I thought the goals came too easy. We didn't generate a whole lot, and it was. I actually thought it was one of our weakest games of the year. So disappointed with that. And then on Saturday, we made some adjustments. Obviously, we're dealing with a lot of injuries, a lot of stuff I actually haven't dealt with before with the number of kids that are hurt right now. But I thought we were the better team, 5-on-5. The guys responded in a positive way. We outchanced them, which is difficult to do in Bemidji against the best team in the league right now. We only gave up 5 chances, 5-on-5. That's incredible. And I think in the first period, you only gave up 4 shots against. So I give credit to our guys. They responded in a positive way because you could certainly fold. And then, the goals, if you look at all the goals, I think 5 of them over the weekend came on their power play. And actually, one of our strengths this year has been our pilling kill. It's been really good. And, I talked to William there, and we went over some of the goals against. And he admitted some of them he's got to have, a lot of them. I think in the second game when they scored 3 power play goals or whatever it was, he could have had two on Saturday night. Probably could have had two on Friday night. So I think the positives with the way things are playing out right now, the guys responded in a good way, and we're dealing with significant injuries, like many other teams. But then you still have to find a way to score some goals at the right time, and we were unable to do that. Even when it was, I think it was 3-2. They get a power play. It was a wrist shot along the ice from the blue line with a little bit of traffic. Those are the type of saves you got to make to keep it tight. And then because we did have some chances after that we didn't score on, but our struggles continue to score goals. But again, we got guys out of the lineup that help us create offense, and it gives opportunity for other guys to step up. So you got to play a little bit different game and tighten it up defensively. And if we're going to win games against these good teams, it's going to have to be 2-1, 3-2. So that's what we've been keying on. Obviously, just 2 days here with limited crew, but we got a great team in Mankato coming, and they've got good speed. They play really structured. They don't beat themselves, and we're going to have to play a complete game. And we've said all year long, guys, we've got to get good goaltending along with special teams to give ourselves a chance to win. So that's been our focus.
Where do you think your power play is at, and how can it improve that you maximize some chances against this run of the top teams in the conference that you're facing here?
We scored two last weekend though, so it was hit and miss prior to that. I think if you look at it, it's not only just scoring the goals. You got to generate some shots to get some momentum and energy that lend itself to good play 5-on-5. And I thought the power play was a lot better this weekend. They got a goal each night, and that's all you can ask for. You can get a power play goal each night. You're doing some good things, but we need a combination of our power play being good and our penalty killing being good, and just getting solid goaltending to give ourselves a chance.
You alluded to it. What's it kind of like in practice this week, trying to figure out lineups with all the injuries and how you're going to send them out there on Friday? How difficult is it this week with that
Yeah,
situation?
that's the challenge, and some teams face it. You try to rep out your practice accordingly and get work on some things you got to continue to improve on. But we'll get some more bodies back tomorrow, and we'll get some more possibly bodies back by Thursday. So it's difficult when you're doing concept teaching and line combinations and deep pairings with a limited crew, but you make it work and you maintain your conditioning level. You work on some things that you can work on 5-on-5 with the limited crew and make the best of it. So when Thursday comes around, we have a better idea what our lineup's going to look like come Friday.
How about the goaltending situation? I know both of the guys have had really strong moments this year, and sometimes hasn't gone their way. Just what are you looking for out of both? What's the plan for this weekend, first of all, and then what are you hoping to see from both of them, going forward?
Well, one's hurt; he can't play,
Right,
right?
yeah.
And so that could be long term. We're still kind of sorting through that, but at that position, all you want is consistency, and consistency to me is giving your team a chance to win. And if you want to give yourself a chance to win, you got to be anywhere from 91 to 93% on save percentage. It's that simple. It's that cut and dry. And our job in front is obviously to defend and not give up a whole lot of grade A chances. And I actually think we've did a pretty good job of that for the last 5 games. We've outchanced other teams, which is hard to do. We did it against Tech back to back. We did it against Augustana, and we did it one night against Bemidji 5-on-5. So that's pretty good. And so all we're looking for is consistency in that position, and they know it. They realize it. They self-assess their games. We go over the goals against and the chances against, what they could have did differently or they did really well. And our guys are real good in their self-assessment and how they have to perform every single night.
What specifically makes Minnesota State really tough? What's the number one thing that your guys are going to have to key in on this weekend when they're coming in?
Real good team speed, highly structured. They don't really deviate to that. And I think a credit to anybody in our team, similar to Augustana, is they just don't beat themselves. They don't make very many mistakes. And they trust their structure. And when other teams make mistakes, they capitalize on that. Their special teams is good, and they got one of the best goalies in the nation. So that makes a pretty good recipe for success.
I just took a brief glance at your schedule. There are no cupcakes in the next 3 weeks.
No.
And just baby steps. I guess you just want to keep improving, but you don't have the schedule right now that says it's going to be easy.
Yeah, and we've said that to our guys. Every game's a playoff game for us, right? And we've talked about the process of getting better. We have been. If you look at our shot counts, I mean, we kept Bemidji at 30 and under both nights, and that's the first place team. That's really good, especially on the road. And we did that against Tech. We did it against Augustana. So there's a major improvement from the beginning of the year on that. And our difficulty is scoring more, obviously, and getting the right save at the right time. And as I mentioned earlier, we have to have both our special teams, both our power play and penalty kill, clicking at the same time. Our penalty kill has been really good up until this last weekend. Our power play's been hit and miss, but our power play scored on both nights this past weekend. Our penalty killing gave up 5. And you need your goaltender to be your best penalty killer. And we've addressed that. And we need those combinations of special teams and strong goaltending to give us the best chance of winning. I just want to send a shout out to Coach Alex and the men's soccer team for having an unbelievable year. I think anytime you can have a season where you don't have a lot of success and come back the following year and win a championship bodes well for obviously the coaching staff, but also the players and the buy-in. So congratulations to them, and hopefully everybody has a happy Thanksgiving on Thursday here.
All the stuff we're talking about all year about
Yeah.
reaching some of these goals.
Yeah.
And your guys go out and win a championship.
They did the thing. Yeah.
When they needed to do it to get in the big dance
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
How proud are you, and how will you look back at this season?
Yeah, I mean, super proud. I said that after my post game at the NCAA's, but yeah, it's, at the end of the day, it's up to the players, and they finally figured it out. It was, we went from like competing to figuring out how to win, and then they learned how to win and fight, and with some really special moments along the way, like the snow game, and then we win in golden goal in the semifinals. Those are things I think the team hasn't really processed yet, because it was like, our whole motto has been the whole time is on to the next one. So there was no time to celebrate any of it, to be fair, even the final, because it was, well, guys, we're on to the next one. And now we got to play Thursday as well. They threw some things at us there. And they just kept adapting. There was no complaints. Again, you lose a guy that scored the GLIAC winner for us. You lose him to a stomach bug. He's in a fetal position before the game in the locker room. And then you got your other 6 goes down with a shoulder injury. And they're still just in the game fighting. It just shows how much they really wanted it. And it's up to the players at the end of the day. I mean, it's a player's game. So we led them in the right direction. We took our foot off the gas for a second. they responded well, and look what they did. They accomplished something amazing. So what a year.
Absolutely, and then the teams you had beat in the GLIAC tournament, I know, they've been, since Roosevelt came in
Yep.
last year, they won it last year, and, I don't know, is there a sense that you put the conference on notice and then, kind of made it happen in the tournament, just how that played out against
Yeah.
some really good teams that you hadn't had as much luck
Exactly.
against?
I think, I certainly put the conference on notice. There's no way that anybody could say that we didn't deserve it because we beat both Saginaw and Roosevelt twice on the season. No one else beat them once. So Saginaw is an amazing team. They had 3 losses, 2 are from us. Same with Roosevelt, 3 losses, 2 are from us. So these guys, fair and square, won the thing. And I think the conference is on notice. However, I even said this even last week as part of our on to the next motto. Okay, now we have to look at, we were the hunters, we were chasing, we were trying to find something, and now starting immediately, we are now the hunted. And that's going to be the next phase of our development, and is how these guys respond to actually doing the thing and winning, because that's now the standard. And so I think there's a lot of coaches here that I can talk to about how do you make the jump from, okay, you did it, and now are we satisfied, or are we going for more? Because I think everybody in that locker room knows that we could be in the Sweet 16 right now, and probably should be if we were given a fair shot. That's how talented we were and how much confidence the team had in itself. And that's the level that we now expect, and hopefully the players feel the same way. So
let's talk about that statement. Did you go back, have a chance to look at the game, and let's talk about the yellow card?
Yeah, I just felt like, I never want to disrespect the referees. I just felt like for an NCAA game, the officials were more concerned about my players leaving the technical area than getting the calls right in the field. So I felt like I needed to defend my players in that moment. They worked too hard for the game to be decided, not in their hands. And, the guys got their moment, they got their goal. They were rightly to be upset. But again, they didn't let it affect their play, and that's what's so amazing about it. 7 minutes before halftime, I think we dominated the first half. They get their goal, and it's called back, and it didn't deflate us to the point of losing the game right away, where I think most teams it may have. So just again, it proves that they really bought into the next play, next moment motto, and that got us to where we were, and hopefully we can continue to do that. Off season's tough up here. It is, and I think it makes us tougher for the fall. And what they did in the Dome last winter is the reason we're champions. It wasn't what we did in the last 7 weeks, and hopefully they understand that, and they're going to have to pass that on to all the new players, new transfers that will now go through the same development phase, where we look at the winter as a mini camp. We get 10 days of preseason in August, so that's not really a preseason. That's a warm up. And so our preseason, to be fair, is the winter period, and it's up to them to take this thing to the next stage. It can't stop with one title. That's just can't be satisfied. So it was great, and I let you guys say congratulations. I told you I would if I was back, but you know us, we're hungry. We want to fight for more. We're just so thankful for the support that everybody has shown our program. I think it really helped us, to be fair. The community support and everything you guys do in this room, but just the snow game, it just propelled our guys. They knew they were playing for more than themselves, and that's a big part of the allure of Northern Michigan University is guys know they're playing for somebody, and that really means something. And the guys are a well-deserved championship. Disappointing result. I thought we could have gone further, but can't take anything away from these guys now. We really can't. So.
When Cedarville scored that goal, was that kind of like the second immaculate goal you gave up this year? Because
Third, actually.
Okay,
But yeah.
I'm watching it on the screen, and it's like.
Yeah,
It was. Unfortunately, it wasn't by you.
It was a good goal. I just think in sports and just like in life, water finds the hole. And we were just depleted and fighting for our lives to get to overtime. And eventually the water finds the hole, and they found a moment, and they scored a great goal. And you don't go 11-0 for a reason. They're a solid team. But yeah, it's just couldn't believe it. But, our guys got 2 more chances out of it and maybe a penalty shot. So again, the fighting and showing character all the way to the end. So it just wasn't meant to be. That's how the football world is. And hopefully that sense of, we're so close will help propel us to more next year. Because that's what we're, as coaching staff right now, that's what we're thinking about. So
that was my next question. Did you sense that right away? Like, we were so close, and you mentioned
100%
Sweet 16. Just how do you see the guys taking this into the winter, like you talked about? up and down the roster, you had some young guys
Yeah.
doing great
Right.
things for you this year. Just how does it build from here?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the legacy that Ale and Jan have left. Is when they're now not the leaders, we've got to find new leaders. Will they be able to propel us beyond this height? And that's up to them. That is the question, right? You're asking me a question I don't know the answer to. Hopefully, they can propel themselves to better, but they definitely know that they were capable of more than a first round. They know that, and in the locker room, they're watching right away, watching the highlights of the game in the locker room, knowing really this is how it's going to end. So they know. Now it's time to rest and recover for sure, like they deserve it. But come wintertime, it's a whole new ballgame. So.
Big weekend in the Wisconsin Dells. Last weekend in the Wisconsin Dells, Dylan Keel, man among men in that weekend series. We talk about his contributions all the time, but how does he help accelerate the development of the younger guys when he can do that and put the performance in, and obviously not playing at 100% at this point?
Yeah, no, and I mean, I said it last week with the baby blanket analogy. I mean, sometimes it does feel like our young guys are, like the 4-year-old screaming in the back seat, going like, "Can we stop at McDonald's? Can we do?" And it's like, just here's your blanket and just give us some peace and quiet for a moment. And that's us. That's me trying to coach our basketball team. Sometimes I'm like, guys, will you just stop and give him the ball and just stand there, and he's going to throw it to you, and you just need to make a shot, or he's going to score. And that's something that the thing he's the least comfortable doing, to be honest. That's like not his personality. It's not what he wants to do. But as a mature adult, I think he's realizing that sometimes our team needs him to be that, and to stop runs and to start runs and to just take over games for stretches. And so he wants to make the right play, but sometimes the right play is him shooting, irregardless of how they guard him. So I'm really proud of him, and thought he obviously stepped up in a big way when we needed it this weekend.
Before we talk about defense, let's talk about the offense. I don't think you guys were afraid to make that extra pass, and they would collapse on Dylan or Jackson or Privet, and they would make that extra pass. And it seemed like someone was there to clean it up. I thought that was really nice over the weekend.
Yeah, we got our ball movement back. I never was worried about our offense, because our offense always will get fixed. Like we as a program are good offensively. We know what we're doing. I'm really confident in what we do, and I think what we do is sound and as good as what anyone in the country is doing offensively. So I never was worried about it. But that first weekend did not look like us. That was like a different team, and this weekend got back to looking like us. I think the positive of the whole weekend might be we still missed so many reads, and we missed some shots, but forget that. We missed reads, we missed passes, we missed timing cuts out, and I think our offense is going to keep improving at a pretty steady clip for a while, and that's what you want. It's good that we're 3-1 in our offense. It has not found its stride or its groove yet, minus Dylan's individual brilliance, and I know we'll get there. That one I'm 100% confident about. So, that's I think there's some good signs, and it's all pointing in the right direction on that side of the ball.
Rebounding 48-24 against Northwest Missouri State. Nice big smile on your face there, Coach.
Nothing makes me happier than, rebounding, probably 1, and then turnovers probably 2, and assists probably 3, and we dominated all those categories. And I think we're top 10 in the nation in a bunch of categories that are associated with turnovers, rebounding, and assists. And that's obviously our goal every year. I was very disappointed with the UMSL lack of toughness, and I thought our toughness was awesome all weekend, and I couldn't have been more proud with the physicality and the way we responded, because we're not that big. Like, we're skinny, we're short, we're not athletic, and every year we're a top 10 defensive rebounding team, and obviously it's not because we have bigger, faster, stronger guys, which I think that speaks volumes to those kids' toughness and heart and character. And we weren't that the first weekend. I'm glad we got back to it, and now we just got to keep going with it.
Trevor and Brooks, the 2 freshmen that have seen decent bit of time so far this year, what has allowed them to crack the lineup and get minutes here early on in their careers?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, because this recruiting class of our current freshmen, I think, is the most talented one we've ever brought in. I've said that a bunch, and now that they're here, do you get a little frustrated that they're not, doing more? of course, but at the same time, that talent's still there. And those two, not that they're any less talented than the others, but it's not like they're way more just talented. What they are is they're way more ready to fit a role. And part of it is they went to bigger high schools than the other guys, and they played more college-like roles coming in. They both probably are more talented on the defensive side of the ball than they are the offensive side of the ball. And when you're not quite ready to be a star yet, that defense becomes a lot more important than maybe the ability to score 20 does, because you're not ready to do that anyway. And I think where this team has a chance to be different than especially our last couple of years teams, these freshmen are going to keep improving. Like Bennett will get back, he's going to get way better. Isaiah's going to get way better. Brooks and Trevor are going to get way better. Even like Charlie, who's older but he hasn't played real bad. Like the signs are those four guys right now are keeping us there, but those other guys are gonna build. They're gonna come to be the players that they will be as sophomores, but I think they'll get there by semester if we can keep playing them. And obviously Trevor played 36 minutes. I didn't realize it was quite that much, but when a guy's, it's like when a guy's hot, you don't want him off the floor. But when a guy is guarding the guy that could get hot and the guy that could get hot can't get hot, you also don't want that guy leaving the floor because it might start a cycle that you don't want to get out of. And Trevor defensively was a complete game wrecker, and I think it's something, I don't know if we've ever had a perimeter player that wrecks a game to the way he's going to be capable of doing. And I thought it would come at some point this year. Was I a little surprised it was game 4? Was it forced a little bit by Bennett being out and we needed some solution? Yes. But that if he can do that, that's something that hopefully won't change for the foreseeable future.
You have Concordia on a Wednesday and then Duluth on a Saturday. How tough is it to play Thanksgiving weekend? Obviously, we look around campus, not a lot of students on the perimeters right now. So I guess talk about the challenges of playing Thanksgiving.
We've been since I've been here, and now it's over time you start recognizing trends, and one trend is we've been awesome the first game of the year, we've been awesome coming out of Christmas break, and we've been awful after Thanksgiving. I don't know why. I don't have a reason for it. Obviously, like anything else, you're trying to figure out how are we going to change it up this time and not do the same thing. But we have not been very good coming out of Thanksgiving. And now I'll say that we play Duluth a lot, and Duluth's pretty good. And if there's a program in the Midwest with Bronk leaving Ferris that I would say is a rival, I might pick Duluth over any of them because most rivalries are dictated on recruiting. Like everyone thinks your rivals, but like if you don't recruit against someone, you don't really care. Like us and Michigan Tech don't really recruit against each other. So like, yeah, I'd like to beat them because they're good and they're closest to us and it matters to people. But like we don't recruit against them. Duluth we recruit against, and there's very few D2s that have beaten us for a recruit. There's very few D2s that have a chance of beating us for a recruit with all the upgrades we've had and everything we've put into it. They can, and they have, and other times I think we've been able to beat them or have them not be in the fight because we got in so early. But they're a program that we have a ton of respect for, but we also, it's frustrating that they've gotten the better of us on the court, and we have some championship stuff they don't have, but they've beaten us head to head. And if we can fix that, that would be good for us. And so it's an exciting opponent on Saturday to hopefully get us over our Thanksgiving rut that we've been in, and it's definitely something we'll address with them. And maybe at Thanksgiving dinner, I usually say I'm thankful for them. Maybe this year I'll say I'm not thankful for how you guys played against UMSL, and I'm really not thankful for how Dylan, Sam, and Jackson play on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And that would be more on brand for me anyways, and maybe that'll get them to play harder on Saturday than we played our previous times out of Thanksgiving.
How do you approach tomorrow then? You want to respect the opponent, but know the Duluth game that you just talked about, how much that it really means in the non-conference. Just what's the plan? Home opener, Wednesday afternoon. little bit of a sleepy spot. What's the game plan look like for tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a great question, and obviously what we've been kind of focusing on today and yesterday, and I think there's a couple good things. One is their two best players, their best kid, or they have two kids that are equally good. One was here and played here for a year and a little bit, and was a good player here. And when he's on the scout team, destroyed our starters, and someone we're very comfortable and familiar with, but also respect. And then their big fellas from Kansas State. It was a Kansas State player coming out of high school. So they have two guys that we know are at or above our level that I think, a traditional D3 team coming in might not have that ability to just be like, hey, listen, at least these two are as good or better than you guys, so you better be ready for those two. And then everyone else kind of plays off of them, so that helps a little bit. The other thing, and this is like the really fun part about this week for me, is we've always talked about like kind of a game at a time and stuff, but we've never been that like process program. And I still think it's a little silly because I don't think people actually do it who say they do it. Saying that, we really tried to live in like one possession at a time mindset this past weekend because we knew we had so much to fix. And I thought the only way we could fix it is to truly like just live in that possession, knowing that we're going to make a little more mistakes this year. So we got to move on from those mistakes. And now we have a game where on Wednesday where traditionally you would have a hard time getting up for it and you'd go into it maybe without as much external energy. So can we ignore that and stay in that one possession at a time mindset in that environment? And hopefully the answer is yes. And let's say it is, then on Saturday you go into a game where, if anything, the external motivation should be too high and there's pressure or there's excitement or whatever. And for that one, can we chill that out and also live in one possession and blah, blah, blah. And so for us, in some ways, coming off of last weekend where we said that and it worked, well, now we'll find out, like, is that real? Because those games were easy to be in that setting for, but can we do it in two very different settings and continue it for a second week? And if we do, it's a great sign moving forward. If we don't, it's something we'll learn from and adjust from. But I think in a way, this week's coming at a perfect time with having those challenges wrapped into the Thanksgiving stuff.
In years past, you've had the guys over for Thanksgiving. You've done some karaoke. Any dark horses this year?
Yeah, it's a good question. I feel like we've hit the point, like Trevor's just good at everything. Like he was the best axe thrower. I don't know. I'm just gonna bet on Trevor because he just seems like he's got that. But I will say, Big Ross, I think could be a sneaky. I don't know if he has any voice at all. It's going to be funny as heck, and I could see Big Ross being the dark horse. I'll call Trevor the favorite, with Big Ross coming in as a dark horse.
You've had some time between last game and the games coming up this weekend. Obviously, there's 3 players that hurt you against Duluth. What do you work on going into Crookston?
Yeah, we got to work on a little bit of everything from our scoring side of it, from our defensive side of it, and just being tough and getting through those tough times. Working together, I think, is the biggest thing. And we talked about a lot of film, not just from Duluth, but from St. Cloud as well. Now having some days that we can actually work on some things is, I think, a big thing. Having 2 days off and letting our bodies recoup is the other big thing that we needed, that staff needed. And just keep working and moving forward. It's not going to make or break our season, but we got to come out ready to go against Crookston.
I guess when you have a back-to-back and finally got tripped up, you guys competed. You're down 17. You cut it to 6 a couple of times.
Cut it to 4, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was listening,
It's all right.
trying to pay attention. But yeah, you guys got so close. How much energy did you exert trying to get back into that game, and compared to letting the game kind of come to you and playing like in tempo kind of deal?
Well, and we talked about it even with St. Cloud. We got down 8 in the first half, and then we got down 15, and then we came back and we fought back to go into overtime. And then we get down again, this has kind of been a couple of times now in a couple different games where we're digging ourselves out of our hole instead of maintaining. We really didn't get rattled in the first couple games. Obviously, we could come back and we got the win. Obviously, it's a little different against Duluth. They kept on coming at us, and in that fourth quarter, it's just once we got tired, I think it kind of got to us a little bit. Where mentally, you got to be able to prepare for 40 minutes, and you got to compete for 40 minutes. And I think we did at times, but it's got to be less of the streaks where they go on their runs and we get in a big hole. We got to maintain that a little bit better in the future.
What's it like getting ready to face a team twice in a row?
It's different. I mean, it's something we did in COVID though, right?
Yeah.
So like, it's not something that they've never done before. But it just worked out in our schedule where we both needed a couple games and we just kind of decided, let's just do a double back to back, and kind of go from there. So it worked out with them. It worked out with us. Makes the trip worthwhile when you can get 2 games out of it.
We don't know a lot about Crookston. I know they played here last year. What are some of the things that Crookston brings to the table?
Well, they got a really good guard. Their point guard, she averages about 25 points per game in their first 3 games. Actually, play tonight too, and she's tough. Last year, she I think had 26 against us, and she's a 5'1" little guard that just runs around. But she plays 40 minutes. She doesn't get subbed out. She just goes, and she's just an energizer bunny. And she makes it really hard to guard, and she will pick people up full court. And they got some other players around her now that the coach is in her second year as a head coach, and last year was her first year, so they were kind of adapting, I think. And now they're running a ton of stuff for her, and we got to be ready to guard right away, and we got to be able to defend all around, not just with one player, but key in on her for sure.
You guys were out rebounded in both games at home this past weekend.
Yep.
Duluth by 10. Just how's that being addressed? How do you fix that?
Yeah, we're just working on it, and we talk about it. We talked about how we were successful going into those 2 games by being able to be a beast on the boards, and everybody, including our guards, where I don't think there was 1 or 2 people that we can key in on that said, "Hey, you didn't do your job." It was literally none of us were rebounding. And credit to them, they're both really good teams. They were boxing us out, and they were bigger than us in certain spots. But I tell our team, rebounding is all heart, effort, and if you want it, go get it. So we addressed it. We talked about it, and yesterday was a really great practice coming back. We need another one today. We need another one tomorrow as we prepare for Crookston this weekend.
Talk about Jordan Schmidl a little bit because she didn't play last year, was a red shirt. She's got extended minutes so far this year, and in the game I was able to watch against St. Cloud, she was one of those people that were on the boards. I guess talk about her development and her getting into the lineup and playing a lot of basketball.
Yeah, I mean, when we were at home, we needed a little energy boost for sure, and I just subbed her in at a spot that she's probably not going to play a whole lot for us, but I just said, hey, we just need rebounds. I need you to grab every rebound you can. I think she ended up with 9 at the end of the game and led our team in it. And she's a big, tough kid that can. I mean, she's strong, and even our team in practice is like, man, she just knocks us over. And so she's still figuring out some things. Obviously, this is kind of like her freshman year after not playing last year, but she still practiced every single day and got better. And we were kind of waiting for her, and this was kind of her breakout. That game was a really good game for her, and she can definitely add something to our team. But it's going to be, again, everybody needs to do their part to get that win.